All right, it is 5:30, and I will bring this regular Steenville City Council meeting to order. We're going to start off. I've asked Ms. Smith to lead us in the pledges.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right, thank you, Ms. Smith. And now Kurt Blackscope from the Ministerial Alliance will start us off in prayer today.
All right, let us pray together. Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for your many blessings. And we just give you this time. We just are so thankful for you. It's because of your love that we're not consumed, for you have compassion, and they never fail. Your mercies are new every day, and we're thankful, Lord, that we live in a great city, a great county, and a great state, and a great country. We ask, Lord, that you would help each of us to be mindful of our part, to always give back, to give more than we take, and to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Thank you, Lord, for this city. Thank you for the staff. Thank you for the city council and all the committees that do all the work, and the staff around the town that get everything done. And we're so quick to point out things that haven't gotten done or things that are not up to our standard. But, Lord, we just are thankful for all the men and women who do work every day. And I just pray that you'd bless our county in a very special way. We love you, Lord, and it's in your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, we're going to move on to recognition of Judge Shawnee Bass. Judge Bass, there you are. Judge Bass has served our community for many years, and we're so appreciative of everything you've taken care of for us. I'm going to read this proclamation real quick, and then I've got something for you when we're done. So whereas Judge Shawnee Bass faithfully served the city of Steenville as municipal judge from 2023 to 2025, demonstrating integrity, professionalism, and an unwavering commitment to justice. And whereas during her tenure, Judge Bass has ensured that every individual appearing before the municipal court was treated with fairness, dignity, and respect, upholding the highest standards of the judiciary. And whereas Judge Bass's leadership and dedication have strengthened public confidence in our local court system and contribute greatly to the safety, order, and well-being of the Steenville community. And whereas her service has reflected the values of compassion, accountability, and excellence, and her example has inspired those who work alongside her in public service. And whereas the city of Steenville wishes to express its sincere gratitude for Judge Bass's many contributions and lasting impact on our community. Now therefore, I, David Baskett, by the authority vested in me as Mayor Pro Tem of the city of Steenville, do hereby recognize and honor Judge Shawnee Bass.
Tilt it down. There you go. Oh.
Sorry. Forward, consider approval of notice of election for the November 4th, 2025 special, oh, sorry, I skipped right over the citizens general discussion. I did that last month too, I'm sorry. Does anybody have anything they would like to discuss with council that does not pertain to an item on the agenda? Seeing none, I will now move forward to consider approval of notice of election for the November 4th, 2025 special election. Ms. Lockenauer.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, the notice of the election is simply the next step in the election process. So we're requesting approval of the notice of election for November 4th, 2025 for the special election.
I'll make a motion that we approve the notice of election for November 4th, 2025.
Oh, sorry. Second.
I've got a motion by Ms. Smith and a second by Ms. Murphy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on, consider approval of resolution denying the 2025 Encore rate case. Mr. King?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, if you'll recall, a few months ago during the summer months, we discussed at that time suspending the rate case. In that rate case, what Encore has filed is to generate approximately $834 million more in revenue. And they're asking for municipalities to approve their rate case, which would be 12.3% on residential rates and 51% in street lighting rates. The steering committee of cities served by Encore that we're a member of, approximately 180 something cities here in Texas, at this point is recommending that we do a resolution to deny the rate case. So that can all be sent to the Public Utility Commission, and then the process can go from there. But staff would certainly recommend denying the rate case.
Any questions for Mr. King?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd make a motion that we approve Resolution 2025-R18 denying the Encore rate case.
Second.
I've got a motion by Mr. Nix, a second by Mr. Greenhaw. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next, consider approval of interlocal agreement with the city of Granbury for the Granbury Regional Radio Network. Chief Harris.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and distinguished members of the council, tonight I ask you to consider approval of the interlocal agreement between the city of Stephenville and the city of Granbury. This is, in 2021, we approved the initial agreement to join them, and in light of recent cyber attacks and many other things, the cost to protect what we consider the radio core for the regional network has increased, and this is a budgeted item that hasn't been approved in the current budget for a total of $112,620 to protect the regional radio network and be a part of that network. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Chief Harris?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding that with the agreement, the interlocal agreement between the city of Stephenville and the city of Granbury for the use of the Granbury Regional Radio Network.
Second. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't get it. I got a motion by Mr. Nix. I didn't. Who got the second? Mr. Reisman? Or any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief
And
Harris.
another congratulations to the chief and his department for their recognition.
Absolutely.
More coming on that.
Okay.
Next, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate energy contract for beginning term January 1st, 2026. Mr. King.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, again, several months ago, we discussed an expiring contract for what we, as city government, pay for electricity rates for our facilities. It was a 10-year contract to run from 2020 to 2030. The original company, after Winter Storm Uri, ended up being bought out by Shell Energy. They ended up calling a halt to the contract 5 years early. And quite frankly, they're losing money on it. It was a really good contract. Several months ago, you gave me authority to negotiate a contract. We didn't specify necessarily the company in that one, but that night we were really only talking to one, which was TASB, the Texas Association of School Boards, and they're big in that conversation. We've since brought in some other companies that work that market and do contracts. And so we're just trying to balance the best deal and the best rates and working with them to monitor the contracts out on the market on a daily basis. And so a little vague. That night, I think the intent really was on the TASB side, but now we may go with one of these other companies. And so I would ask you for a more blanket approval that would allow me to negotiate with any of those companies that we're working with so that we can, it's gonna go up, but we're trying to get the best deal we can get.
Questions for Mr. King?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would make the motion authorizing City Manager King to negotiate an energy contract for the said lighting to be in our best interest, and I believe he will represent that.
Second.
Yeah, motion by Mr. Nixon, second by Ms. Smith. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right, moving to P and Z Commission, Mr. Killian. First item would be to consider a motion to untable application number PD 8998.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would make the motion to untable application PD 8998, which was tabled at our last regular meeting.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Nix, a second by Ms. Smith. All those in favor, or any discussion?
No discussion on that.
No discussion on that. Thank you, sir. All those in favor?
Aye.
Steve? I'll go ahead and read this. Application number PD 8998, applicant Malcolm Canute, representing Keywaden Developments and Rock Creek Property Number 1 LLC, is requesting a rezone of property located at 0 Cedar Street, parcel R78345, being part of the A0342 Hudson HC to the city of Stephenville, Urathe County, Texas, from single-family residential R1 to planned development.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Council, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, if you will allow it, I'd like to hold off on giving a staff report at this time. Mr. Canute, the developer for this project, contacted us earlier in the day, just a few maybe an hour or two ago, and he would like to approach the council with the request, and I think that may circumvent the need for me to
Absolutely.
provide a presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Canute. Oh, not Mr. Canute. Sorry, Taylor.
Yes, we wanted to come before the council and everyone here tonight to give an update on where we're at on this project. We are in the process of adjusting the plan that was, well, both plans that were presented to P&Z several months ago and the plan that was tabled at last month's meeting. We are in discussions, and it's further along than just discussions, but happening as late as today, in-person meetings with the property owners to the north, the Allen family, who owns where Harbin Street currently dead ends. We are in the process of putting together our agreement to give access to the development we are working on through their property, extending Harbin Drive from where it currently terminates to somewhere on our property. We just are not at the point to where we know exactly the specifications of the road that is going to extend from where it is now to where it would eventually hook up with our property. But the main goal is to, after listening to all of the comments at both planning and zoning meetings, and I was not present for the last city council meeting, but the comments from everybody concerned about this development, and that is to give access to it from the north and thus handle all of, if not most of, the traffic flow from the development that we're proposing. So we are here not to actually move towards a vote on the proposed project because it is subject to change at this point. So.
And this, I mean, we've already untabled it, so we need to move forward, or
I'll speak to the road. There will not be an agreement between two private property owners on that. That road would be dedicated to the city of Stephenville. And so the city of Stephenville has been working with that property owner. We have a surveyed route and have been working on the right-of-way dedication agreement. And
Right, perhaps I misspoke on that. I didn't mean to say that. It's an agreement between us, but it's exactly how, since we do not obviously control that property, where between the current landowner and the city, where that public road would go. That's what we have been discussing for a few weeks, and I know there's been some progress made on that. We're just not at the point where we are able to put anything on paper yet as to where that road will go.
from the council's information, the city has an agreed route with that property owner, and it's surveyed out. The last discussions that we had with them, simply, they were not ready to move forward at this time, and did not give an adjusted timetable. So I'm certainly not in a position to predict when that agreement may come to fruition.
So what exactly is the request at the moment?
To my understanding, we untabled the motion to be able to come discuss the current status of the project, and I guess where we stand right now is re-table it, as opposed to just pushing this thing down the road further without any sort of explanation.
Any questions for Mr. Knut?
I've got a question for Mr. Killen, or it may be for Mr. King. We have a presentation on a planned development, which is very specific on a development. If that development changes, then he will have to present that or re-present that through P&Z for that development, that proposed new development, to be approved or denied before it comes back to council. Am I understanding correctly?
The ordinance delineates between what might be considered minor alterations versus larger ones, and I think depending on what those alterations were, would dictate whether it could be administratively looked at or whether it would have to start over back at the P&Z level. So it would just depend on kind of what we were talking about.
And I don't think any of us are aware of that at this point.
No, sir.
Well, I can speak to that, at least specific point, that the planned development that we were proposing will look virtually identical to what we had presented to P&Z. It's just a matter of where would the access or multiple points of access come in on that development. The layout, the ordinance request, or the planned development specifics regarding lot sizes, right-of-way on public streets, all of that would remain the same. It's simply a matter of access.
So at this point, we have two options on the table. It'd be to go ahead and hear the case, or to go ahead and table this again, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. It's the pleasure of the council.
If we go ahead and carry this, we go ahead with the public hearing and then consider it?
Yes. That's correct.
And they're able to come back, if it's denied, they're able to come back, right? Later?
Yes,
It's
yes,
not,
they could.
it's not
Sure, they
delayed.
can always come
They
back.
can
Yeah.
Reapply,
Yeah,
start the process over.
Just checking.
Ready?
Hi, I'm Malcolm Canute, and I, this afternoon, have spent a considerable amount of time speaking with Joel Allen specifically, and Joel told me that he was presented on Thursday afternoon with the plan, even though it's been talked about. It was the first time they'd seen the agreement, and he assured me that they are absolutely open and are not going to stand in the way of development of anything in this corridor. They simply need to review the documents that were presented to them on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. I don't think that's unreasonable. Planning on meeting with him later in the week and working towards a plan that works for the city, on the extension, and it works for the Allen family, and ultimately works for not just our development, but the other developments that are being considered in this corridor. So I have every reason to believe, and I only found out on Thursday afternoon that the Allens did not renege on their offer. They simply asked for some time to consider what they were presented with. And Joel again assured me this afternoon that he is not an obstructionist and is willing to work towards the good of Stephenville on this. So I relayed that to Steve this afternoon, and this is the course of action that was recommended to us.
Any questions, comments from council?
You're gonna have to have a motion to table or proceed.
Correct. Okay. It's a pleasure of the council. All right.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I hesitate to table this again. We have a number of people who have taken time to come numerous times to P and Z and council. I hate to table it and not resolve
Let me stop
it.
you, Mr. Nick. Is this a motion to table?
I hesitate to do that.
Sounds like a
So
motion
you
to
wanna
table.
move forward?
So we don't discuss those things. You just make your motion and vote on it. Just like. when we're-
I'm gonna make a motion to move forward with the hearing tonight, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Second.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. Nix and a second by Mr. Cook. Any other, do I have discussion on that?
That's good.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Council, have to bear with me a little bit. I'm having a laptop issue, so I'm gonna have to go a lot on memory here. Mr. Canute and Keewaydin Developments approached P and Z earlier this summer, late summer, with a conceptual plan, and then that went back to P and Z in August. And in August, the city, or the Planning and Zoning Commission, by unanimous vote, recommended that the city council deny the rezone request to plan development. So in September, it was tabled from the city council meeting, and that's where we are tonight, coming back. So in your, in the packet, there is a staff report that provides a little more detail. The Canutes have provided a development schedule. I'm not recalling the exact timeline on that development schedule, but after civil approval, that they would begin the civil work, and once accepted, they would begin the construction. I believe they were looking at 123 homes on this site. The reason for the PD is because the home lot dimensions are smaller than the R1, 75 by 100. They'd also express their desire to want to go the PD route so that they could ensure the city and adjacent property owners that this would be a single-family home development and not something that could, turn into apartments or townhome type construction. So that was part of the reason that they were asking for the PD. There has been a Harbin Road extension concern expressed by all of those that have spoken in opposition over the past few weeks. We have several letters that were presented for tonight's consideration in opposition. The PD itself, they do have several concessions listed, and that's in your staff report. Part of those being the lot dimensions, part of those being, they did ask for parkland dedication fee waiver, so I need to call your attention to that. So if it does move forward, you can navigate that. Generally, we don't waive parkland dedication fees, but that's certainly in the prerogative of council. The development schedule, again, I mentioned, and again, they just have the desire to move forward with the construction of single-family homes. They will be on average lots of about 60 by 100, if I recall correctly. And I will do my best to answer any questions that the council may have without having my notes in front of me. I apologize for that.
Any questions for Steve?
I want to also call to the council's attention, and we'll probably remind you one more time, there was a petition filed by the requisite number of property owners, and it was verified by the city secretary's office. And so if the council's desire was to overturn P&Z's denial, it will require a supermajority of this body. And Mr. Thomas has checked into that, since we are an 8-member body at the present time. And so it would require 6 affirmative votes instead of the normal 5.
Now, any questions for Steve?
Steve, timeline.
Yes, sir.
If this, you've told us if it's after the hearing, and if the council chooses to approve it, their kind of timeline for Keewaydin to go ahead. What if it's denied and they want to bring it back? Timeline for going back, they go back through planning and zoning and then back to the council?
Yes, sir. That would start the process over again, all the
Okay.
way back to P&Z, which would just be another conceptual plan. There's a month delay there because you can't just go straight to consideration of the PD. You have to go through the conceptual plan according to the steps in the process of the ordinance. So not any different than if it would have been withdrawn tonight. I understand that would have basically required them to start over through the process as well. So I think that answers the question.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, I am going to open this up to a public hearing. Is there, never mind. I know there's people to speak for and against this project, and we'll get to that momentarily. Do we want to go over speak again? Or?
It's now up to you. You can ask for those to speak for it first if you wish.
Would y'all already spoke, would y'all want to speak again, or?
I'll just make one more comment.
Okay.
Since the beginning of our original proposal, which there were some concerns voiced at the first planning and zoning meeting, mainly centered around 2 issues: flooding and road traffic on Cedar Street, because at the onset we did not have an entrance proposed to the north of the property, or at that point to the east of the property. We came back with a revised plan, listening to the concerns of everybody that spoke up at the first meeting in our best attempt to alleviate those concerns. We have then since engaged in those conversations I mentioned earlier, which, if I go back off the top of my head, I recall there was a lot of folks that thought access to the north off Hardman was key. We've been working aggressively towards that without a day gone by where we aren't working on it, because we still truly believe this is a development that Stephenville needs. We're talking about single-family detached rooftops that it's not just about the existing people that live in Stephenville, but it's about future people moving here, or people that are going to school here that want to stay here and can't necessarily, there's not much variety on the market in terms of new construction housing. So we've listened to everybody's concerns. We've been trying to adjust our plan accordingly. Things don't move as fast as we would like at times, but that's what we're continuing to work on today, and that's what our new plan, well, I shouldn't say new plan, we don't have a plan to present, but if the access between the landowner to the north and the city is worked out, it, in my book, meets all the concerns that we faced several months ago when we first proposed this development. So that's all I'd say on that.
Thank you. I have several people that have asked to speak. Each person will have 3 minutes. I believe I have one that has a little more than 3 minutes. But I'm going to start off with Nathan Collier. Mr. Collier, if you'll come up and tell us your name and your address, please, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, Council. Nathan Collier. Once again, thank you for your time and service to our community. Nathan Collier. I live at 1620 Cedar Street. I'm one of the properties just to the south, and I receive all the water runoff from this proposed property. I provided you some images that I sent you that are in your packet, 7 images. The first couple just kind of show the magnitude of the runoff from the city, believe it or not, but the water runoff from the new football stadium comes through my property. The runoff from Tarleton State University largely comes through my property. It's pretty impressive, and I don't know if you all realize of just how wide of an area of water comes through Pittman Lake and across Cedar Street onto my property. In the following slides, you see those first 2 diagrams there that kind of outline some of the water. The next 2 show a couple of rain events just within the last 16, 17 months. That one there on July 6, 2025, this summer, I was standing out there as the rain was coming down with Judge Huckabee and Captain Jeff Walker from the Stephenville City Police. We were standing out there before the barricades arrived, and literally the asphalt was bubbling up, and we were standing on top of a water bubble from the water intrusion coming underneath this street. The next one on May 31st, 2024, just last year, the entire brand new asphalt that the city paved over that came sliding off onto my property, damaging my fences and some of the other things on my property. The city did come and clean that up for me. Thank you very much. These are all just a couple of rain events, and I haven't even lived out there that many years. The point is the magnitude of water coming through Pittman Lake, through this property, and further downstream is getting more magnitude because of many reasons. I get it. This property and this development is not the sole cause of all of that, but the more
Penny Hampton. Hampton, if you'll give your name and address,
Okay.
you have 3 minutes as well.
Penny Hampton, 1411 Harpers Mill Road, Stephenville. And I thank you guys for the opportunity to talk to you about some of the concerns we have today. I am in opposition of this proposal. You know, I, as much as anyone, want us to look at the future for our Stephenville and to enhance it in any way, but not at the expense of the safety of the current residents. The subdivision, moving it from single family, I heard them keep saying we want to keep it at single family, but rezoning it to planned development is packing as many in that area as you can. I'm going to focus on safety. I don't know as much about the water and some of the other things, but that blind curve, if you've never been on that street, that's right where a school bus runs every morning. And think about those kids when you have so many different vehicles coming, if they're building it or whatever, trying to get to that area, they'll hit that blind curve. They won't even see who's coming. Because I live off Alexander Highway, every morning, when you get lined up to that road, the first thing people do is when it's lined up, they turn and cut and they go through the neighborhood, the Lockwood subdivision, where there's families, there's children waiting for buses. So when you look at, in the Whitefield Street, one of the entry points was that's when you have cars parked on the road, barely one car can get down that road. And Cedar Street itself, typically only one car can get through that road, or you might have to go over into the ditch. I think that the Harbin Street expansion is the only possibility for this, but I think that approving this prior to that being in place is like building a house and starting with the walls, not putting the foundation down first. the infrastructure is not there currently to sustain this amount of volume, even if they tried to do it while they were developing it, the trucks that would have to access it, all of those things, the safety of the community, those in the community, that I know as community, you guys sit here every day and think about valuing the community of Stephenville and enhancing our city and what we can do to make it grow and better and all of those things. I just like to appeal to you as people who live in that area, as a part of that community, that you recognize the safety importance for the children, the families, and the people that have lived there sometimes, in many cases, all their life. I did move away for a little while, but back now. But my family's lived there for a very long time, and most of some of the families in that area. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson. Ross McGangus? Ross, if you give your name and address, you got 3 minutes, sir.
Ross McAngus, 891 PR 1424, Stephenville. Appreciate you, Mr. Nix, considering our time as the residents, as your constituents. This development, it's gone, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the traffic issues are considerable. I think this group is considering the Harbin issue, and that's important. That is critical to the development. Something else I want to bring up that may be being overlooked and not considered is Charlton as a mackerel sector. We are represented by this group. We aren't necessarily represented in those board meeting rooms, in those admittance rooms. Charlton just admitted another record freshman class. And we need to consider, is it our obligation to continue to allow that or adhere to that and expand for that and bend for that? That's an important thing, not just the Harbin, but overall allowing this number of lots is ultimately going to result in student housing. We could say it's single family, but the size and dimensions of the lots is something we need to consider overall. There's still value to be had. We can't control what the price of the land goes for, but we definitely can control what happens in this room and who we're represented by. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Mr. McGangus. Next, Sadie Mays. Ms. Mays, if you'll state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Yes. I'm Sadie Mays, and I live at 1440 Melissa Drive. We have been there for 19 years. My daughter lives just around the corner from us on the Lockwood Addition. She lives right across from that blind curve. And the school bus that comes there, one of the school buses, is a handicap bus. They park right there on that blind curve. My grandson is blind, and he rides that bus. And Lauren, my daughter, has seen that bus almost hit before a couple of times. We need to think about that. Our children, the children of this community, their safety is so important. You know, I understand they're working on the Harbin entrance and exit, and that would be great. But again, I think that needs to happen before we take seriously any kind of proposal that they have. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Mays. And last but certainly not least, Doris. You'll come up and state your name and your address, and since you are representing a group as a spokesperson, you do have 10 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Doris Howe. My husband Kenneth and I live at 1610 West Cedar Street. We also own the properties at 1560 Cedar, 1411, and 1360 Kaylock. I'd like to thank y'all for listening and considering all the concerns of all of our neighbors that are in this room. I think we're very well represented, and I appreciate that. I ask you to uphold the P&Z's unanimous negative recommendation for this application to rezone. They had multiple concerns such as density, Harbin extension, traffic on Cedar, which is still showing an entrance on Cedar, and the drainage. I will say Harbin Drive is not the only issue that most of us feel like with this. We would strongly support an R1, a true R1 subdivision in this area. I know that this property has got a lot of issues and there's lots of drainage problems, but we would support that. But this project is not, I do not believe what we need. We need families, homes for families. This is just like Ross said, another color to call student housing. This is gonna attract investors, parents of students to come in. 1,200 square feet on some of these houses is not much bigger than an apartment. And you're gonna have 3, 4, 5 kids living in these, students, excuse me, young adults, living in these homes, and that's just gonna add to the number of cars that are gonna be coming in and out of whichever entrance and exit you put in there. I'm sorry, but these cookie cutter, cracker box houses are not what Stephenville needs. Kenneth has been inspecting construction for First Financial Bank for the last 5 years. He has been in Lingoville, Desdemona, DeLeon, Comanche, Hyco, Walnut Springs, multiple subdivisions in Glen Rose and Toller, Granbury, Mountain Lakes, and all around the county. And he is yet to inspect a house less than 1,600 square feet. That is what people want for their families, not little bitty houses with students next door. In the 29 years that we've lived in our home, the problems on Senior continue to increase, and everybody's already addressed that. Whitefield is not a solution. It's just gonna compound the problem on Lillian and that area. And I have several questions. Is this, obviously it's not the final approval because there's gonna be some changes. If Harbin is extended, when will that be? Will Whitefield be completed before they even start construction? Until Harbin is completed, why would we even entertain this proposal? Will construction be allowed to start before Harbin's extended? This plan shows they want to start January of 2026. Where will the construction entrance be? The only road that is currently attached to this property is Cedar Street. That of all of those, Kenneth's built, we know what trucks are going to be going up and down this street. Are there going to be sidewalks on these streets inside the development? On the proposal that they put in here, does it show there's going to be sidewalks? I thought that was pretty much a citywide requirement for developments anymore. When this is built out, who will maintain the utility easements, the pond area, the flood areas where the proposed football/soccer fields are going to be? Where's the parking for this field going to be? Is it going to flow out on Cedar? There's no designated parking. Will there be lights shining in our homes? Are townhouses going to be built in the future development area? In their first proposal, that was one of the things that was up in that top right-hand corner. If that is, it's just going to increase the traffic and the density. I know about, we all know about the drainage, but Nathan didn't mention, Kenneth built their barn. It's never flooded until this past year because the flooding is getting that much worse. I realize that they've done an amendment to the traffic study, but I have questions about that. When this turns into student housing, and it will, was that accounted for? Was this done during the summer, or was it done while Tarleton and Stephenville ISD were in school? Because that makes a big difference. I do have another concern that seems to be reoccurring. We have standards that were set for property development. Why are developers able to circumvent these standards by going planned development? I assume when these standards were set that there were studies done, engineers involved, taxpayers paid money for this, I'm sure. These standards are designed to maintain the pride and integrity that Stephenville has maintained in our city's housing areas for years, not turn us into a town that doesn't follow this type of standard, I'm going to say such as Brownwood. If you haven't been over there in a while, it's not pretty. With so many unanswered questions, how can this move forward? I am asking you as a council to please not sacrifice the integrity of Stephenville, the integrity and quality of our neighborhood, just to enhance the profits of this developer. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else here that wishes to come forward to speak for or against this development? All right, hearing none, I will close the public hearing and consider approval of ordinance rezoning property located at 0 Cedar Street, parcel R78345, being part of the A0342 Hudson HC to the city of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from single family residential R1 to planned development. pleasure of the council.
I make a motion that we deny the ordinance 2025-0-29 at this time.
Second.
I got a motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Durfee. This will be a roll call vote. Place one.
We have a discussion before
Oh,
or
sorry.
after?
Is there any further discussion?
Steve, did you have anything else that came up on your, I'm sorry, can he not do that? Am I screwing up?
No, yeah, you're screwing up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Okay, the only discussion I have is, I mean, I've said this from the very get-go, that having discussions about Harbin and having things paid for and the ability to even build the road, because we all know what our budget looks like. So, you know, that is very, very concerning.
Any other discussion?
Just a point. This property will develop at some point. You know, there is the city is limited in certain types of things. If this developer wants to go in there and build in R1, well, he certainly can. Because it's already zoned that, and he doesn't need approval from anybody to do that. If he wants to come back, that's fine, too. I said at the very beginning, when this process began, that I thought that everything hinged on Harbor Drive. And I still believe that. That's the only way that it can keep the traffic off of Cedar and others that would come into this area. And it will be a normal continuation of Harbor Drive in the future. And that's what's going to be required, I think, for this development or any other development to go down here. So with that,
Well,
that's my comment.
I'm in agreement with Gerald. I don't see connecting Cedar on any of this. I would not want Cedar connected.
All right. Any other discussion? Place one.
No.
Voting.
It's a motion to deny.
Deny, yay.
Place
Sorry.
two.
I'm screwing up everything.
Yes.
Place three.
Yes.
Place four.
Yes.
Place five.
Yes.
Place seven.
Yes.
Place eight.
Yes.
All right, the motion to deny passes unanimously. Thank you. We are going to pull items 10, 11, and 12, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Moving on to item 13, application number RZ9109. Applicant Bo Mayo representing Erath County LLC is requesting a rezone of property located at 380 East Elm, parcel R28924, being block 8, lot 9 and 10 of the S2400 Cage Edition to the city of Steenville, Erath County, Texas, from 1 and 2 family residential R2 to multifamily residential R3.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Mr. Bo Mayo came to.
Just a second. Please, I can't hear anything, Steve.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Mr. Bo Mayo came to Planning and Zoning back in 2022 and requested a rezone for several pieces of property here adjacent to 380 Elm, and that property was rezoned to multifamily. He has not started on that project as of yet, but he had gone through a lot of the process up to the point of actually making his submittals. Recently, actually, he did have civil plans submitted, and those were under review. But then He reached out to me one day about 3 or 4 months ago and mentioned that he had acquired 380 East Elm, which is a parcel before he did not. He wanted to incorporate that into his development project for this area. He will be building multifamily residences similar to what you see at his other projects over on Alexander Road, the Spur, different projects that he has built, different multifamily developments. And they were going to be very similar in nature, but now he has this additional parcel to bring into the mix, and so he'll basically have that entire block on the maps provided in your packet, and he would like to just bring that in. There is a sewer line that traverses the property. We have discussed that with Mr. Mayo. He's aware of it. We can't, from what I recall, I don't think we have a way to abandon that particular line. He is aware of that and knows that he's going to have to build around that easement that cuts across those parcels. So he is asking for consideration of the rezone. He was unable to be here tonight due to a personal business matter that he had to attend, but authorized me to answer any questions that the council may have on his behalf. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for Steve?
Steve, the parcel is right across the street from an existing apartment complex, is it not?
I believe there are
Apartments or townhouses or
single-family residences in this area. I'm not aware of any apartments in that
Well, I thought it
vicinity
was
there.
just to the north of it.
But in there, you may be correct on that. I'm not recalling that. This area does have a lot of, he has R3 zoning. He's kind of surrounded by different zoning, but this was approved in 2022 and of course went through
I
council.
remember when it was.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So
Came before us. Okay.
I need to get out and drive around more. I may not be aware of the apartments that
I
you're
went by
referring
it the
to.
other day, I think, so.
Mr. Killen, was there any comment, pro or con, from the residents in that area at P and Z?
Thank you for asking that question. We did have one gentleman attend the P and Z hearing, and he did speak in opposition. The council, or I'm sorry, P and Z voted unanimously to recommend the city council approve the rezone request. And it does fall in line, meets the future land use plan of complete neighborhood. Failed to mention that as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Steve?
I apologize for the glitch tonight.
No, it's no problem, thank you. Here now, I will open this up to a public hearing. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this project? Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing and consider approval of a rezone of property located at 380 East Elm, parcel R28924, being block 8, lot 9 and 10 of the S2400K edition of the city of Steenville, Erath County, Texas, from R2 1 and 2 family residential to multi-family residential R3.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move the approval of the rezone of this area 2025, ordinance 2025-030. Is that correct, or 29?
It'll be 29.
29.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Cook, second by Ms. Durfee. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Steve. Moving on to Parks and Leisure Services Committee, Mr. Reisman.
Mayor Pro Temp, I think Mr. Darren Trussell came up last month, or our last meeting, and explained what we were doing with Splashville down there. We are looking at different options. We are going to be meeting with some civic groups, talking about the options for Splashville, and we will be bringing back another report after we've had opportunities to visit with different civic groups in the community and get their feedback.
Any questions for Mr. Reisman?
Okay.
Does that conclude your?
Yes, that concludes mine.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Monica, financial reports?
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, this is the financial statements ending August 31st, 11 months into our fiscal year. And once again, our financial indicators are about where we thought they'd be, or a little bit better. For our property tax, we received $16,000 in the month of August. That resulted in $413,000 increase over the funds collected last fiscal year to date. We've collected over 100% of our budget, and that's about $85,000 more than we anticipated. We received $848,000 in sales tax in August. That resulted in $246,000, or 2.7% more than the funds collected last fiscal year to date. We're at about 97% of our budget, and that's about $505,000 higher than what we anticipated. Of the $43 million in revenue that we've received to date, 56% was received in our general fund, 27% was received in our wastewater fund, and then the rest of them varied from 5% down to 1%. We received slightly over 100% of our total budgeted revenue through August. That's $4.4 million than what we had anticipated, and that's due to taxes, licenses, and permits, intergovernmental, some interest income, and some other revenue. We received $255,000 more revenue than through August of last fiscal year to date, and that was due to taxes, our licenses and permits, charges for services, and other revenue. Of the $40 million spent to date, 49% was spent in our general fund, 35% was expended in our water, wastewater fund, and then the other funds varied from 3% down to very minimal. We've expended 75% of our total budgeted expenditures through August. That's about $9 million less than what we would have anticipated. That's due to personnel, contractual, and capital outlay. We've spent $12 million less on expenditures through August than last fiscal year to date, and that's due to a large part in the capital outlay in the water and sewer fund. And then for CETA, they've received an overall 97% of their budgeted revenue through August, which is $10,000 less than last fiscal year to date due to interest income, and $41,000 more than anticipated due to taxes. CETA has spent an overall 53% of their budgeted expenditures through August. That's $25,000 more than last fiscal year to date, and that's due to personnel and capital outlay. And it's $447 less than what we would anticipated. That's due to contractual, capital outlay, and grant disbursements. Any questions?
Any questions for Monica? Thank you very much. On the consent agenda, I am going to look for a motion to approve, but we're going to pull item 39 to discuss separately. So the motion would be to approve the consent agenda without 39.
Mayor, I'd make the motion to approve the consent agenda with item 39 removed.
Second.
I got a motion by Ms. Nix, a second by Ms. Turpie. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. King, would you like to discuss item number 39?
Absolutely, sir. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, the reason we asked to have this one pulled off and discussed separately is it is an annual contract for our network security software contract, so it is a pretty important one. But our staff and Mr. Thomas have been going back and forth with the vendor to get the questions answered. We didn't have those 100% solidified for tonight. So that contract is with a company, Recon Infosec. It is a contract for $49,781.64. That is budgeted, and it is important. So I anticipate getting those questions wrapped up fairly quickly. So I would ask, that's why I wanted to vote on this separately, and ask y'all to approve the contract with the condition that it's not signed until Mr. Thomas is satisfied with the agreement. And I'll answer any questions.
Any questions from Mr. King?
Mr. King, I'm sorry, but I think I understand that you're asking for a motion to approve contingent on y'all's final acceptance of the terms of the contract?
Upon Mr. Thomas's approval of the contract.
Okay, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would make that motion then to approve the contract subject to Mr. Thomas's approval.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Mr. Nix, second by Ms. Durfee. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Comments by city manager?
I have none tonight, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Durfee?
Okay, let me get my list out. First off, I just wanted to congratulate the Cowboy Capital of the World Rodeo Committee for an amazing event that they put on, packed house all 3 nights, plus the range rodeo the weekend before. It was a great week-long event and for the Western Heritage. And then second, I would like to acknowledge Ashley, our Main Street manager, for the amazing coffee and cars and the farmers market. If you weren't down here Saturday morning, it was packed. It was great. And I appreciate everything that she does to make that work, and Mr. Brown as well. And then I would like to congratulate the police department on their accreditation for Texas Gold Standard in law enforcement. We knew you were gold standard, but we appreciate everybody else recognizing that as well. So, congratulations. And lastly, I would like to thank the fire department for your help in putting the new beautiful necklace on Moolah last week. And thank you to all the law enforcement and first responders that came to recognize the beginning of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And that's all I have.
Mr. Cook?
Just congratulations to our great police force, chief. Well done. It's really nice to have that recognition for this community and all. Congratulations also to, oh my goodness, the high school football team, the college football team, the crowds that we had in, the band contest that we had here. If you weren't aware of it, it was Saturday also. Huge number of bands were here at the high school stadium, and we're going to have that again in 2 weeks, I believe. And only this will be the UIL competition in a couple of weeks, so that's fantastic too. These all bring people in, and that's good. And along with the rodeos and things like that, this place has been busting at the seams, frankly, and everything really good. I talked to some people that came up here all the way from the coast, as a matter of fact, and just to participate in the activities and go to the Tarleton game and see what new was going on in Stephenville, which was really nice. It's really nice to see that. So anyway, congratulations to all those groups, to the city staff. Thank you very much.
Mr. Reisman?
Well, kind of echo a little bit here on, you kind of stole my stuff there, Joe. But if you are, I guess we had the rodeo parade here a little while, a couple of weeks, and
Yes.
I can promise you, they did not run out of candy. There's more candy than we could pick up at there, so I think there's enough candy, we can probably give it out for Halloween if you were here during that parade like Darryl was. I sat next to Darryl. I do want to commend the Yellow Jackets on a great win over Ruston and Tarleton over Southern Utah, and I want to commend the three-way Braves who are undefeated out here on 67. But it's just not the teams that we should be congratulating. There's a lot more that goes into it, and it's the cheerleaders, it's the band, it's the cheerleaders, it's the band, it's the dancing. You know, it's the dancing teams that go out there and they practice as hard as they're athletic. They're athletic teams, and they're out there, and they maybe doesn't get on TV or get on the notoriety, but those folks are putting a lot of work in to support those teams, and they're to be commended for that. And I know that we do commend this community for the support that they give those teams when they run out there and they play. When they look up in the stands and see that support, it does motivate you to play as hard as you can. And I just think we're off to a great fall, and I think there's even a lot of great things ahead of us as we get into district play, conference play, and is excited to see where this is gonna take us this fall.
Thank you, Mr. Park.
I don't have anything.
Ms. Smith?
Okay, so I'd like to thank everybody who came out tonight and spoke and used their voice. That's what, you're allowed to do, and we appreciate that. But with that being said, we still have positions open on nominations for boards and commissions. So if you have any interest in serving your community on any board or commissions, you can find those applications on the city website. I would also like to mention that at the park, basketball registration is now open through the 17th, and then for $75 an athlete, and then after that till the 20th it's $100. Oktoberfest is this Saturday at the Legacy Center from 3 to 10 p.m. We went last month for, Darren, what was that called? The Sundown at the Legacy? Is that it? Sundown at the Legacy. I took my 2 children and we had a great time. There was food trucks, live music, dancing. My 5-year-old now is a line dancer, so that's exciting. I'd also like to congratulate the Stephenville Police Department on receiving their Texas Gold Standard Award. It is also Fire Prevention Week this week, so if you see those guys out there in red, you thank them for everything they do. And then I'd also like to wish a happy anniversary and birthday to my husband Jason. And with that, that is all I have.
Mr. Greenough?
I'd like to add my congratulations to our police department for their recognition, and thanking all of our first responders.
Mr. Nix?
I've got a couple of things, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. First, I think it was 2 Saturdays ago, or perhaps 3, I drove around the Senator Robert J. Glasgow Loop, and there was a river flowing down the bar ditch on the side of it. As I went down the street, I saw some men from the city water department chest deep in water trying to deal with that. I don't think people understand how difficult a job that is, but how significant it is for the well-being of all of our residents. And water is a valuable commodity, and they were doing their best to stem that flow. I want to thank Mr. Williams and his department for all their work on our streets and on water issues and those kinds of things. It goes unappreciated or certainly unnoticed many times, but if you drive by there and you see them in action, it is noticed and it's noted duly. But I want to thank all of our staff. I'm not going to try to call everybody by name, but the people on our staff do an amazing job with limited resources to make us look good, because they provide us with the information we need. They provide the public with the information that they need to make reasonable decisions, to make reasonable developments, to come forward with projects and proposals that we get to look at, because our staff has helped them in many cases put that together and try to make sure that when it comes to us, it is something that will be beneficial for the city, profitable for them is what drives the game. But if it's not beneficial for the majority of the citizens, profit to them is insignificant. But I want to thank our staff for all their work and for all their help and for their patience with some of us council members. I'll just say it that way.
Thank you, sir. I will now, recess into executive session in compliance with the provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Law, Subchapter D, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes, annotated in ordinance with Section 551.087, deliberating regarding economic development negotiations, Project NEBRA. Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, Project Shepherd. Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, Project CH. Section 551.071, consultation with an attorney to consult over grant applications. And Section 55.1072, deliberation regarding real property to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, to wit, real property located in city addition. We will be back. right, it is 7:10, and I will bring us back into the regular city council meeting. No action is required from executive session, so it's 7:11, and I will adjourn the Cedarville City Council meeting.